We live? Okay, we're live, I guess. I mean, I went right on. I'm waiting on Mr. Alice to come on. Let me see here. Man, how's everything going? There you go.
There we go. Better late than never.
How you doing, Alex?
I'm okay, man. How are you doing today?
Oh man, it's okay, man. I woke up this morning with some little cramps on me, but I'm getting them right.
That's how it goes when you're getting this age.
Oh my goodness, man. I didn't know.
Waking up with something.
I didn't know. I'm learning.
If somebody told me what old age is going to be like, I don't know if I would have signed up.
Oh my goodness, man! I tell you, but I feel pretty good right now. The sun is coming out, football is on. Looking at a little football and trying to get these bones to start moving in the right direction, and ready to talk about a little real estate here today.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's a good plan. It's a tale of two cities out there, almost like in the real estate business. Either you're in a hot area or you're not.
Yes.
Either you're going to do great with refinancing an existing mortgage, or you might be facing foreclosure because you can't make the payments because of what COVID has done to your job. It's kind of all over the board.
Yes, it is. Wow. I mean, you just got to figure out which direction you want to do, and you got to have the right mindset. And that's one thing I talk about. You got to get your mindset right to be able to handle this. It's all about the mindset right now.
That's right.
Having the right state of mind to be able to handle all this right here. That's what's going on out here in today's market. I was talking to you. Go ahead.
What does that look like? If a right state of mind, if you're out here like, okay, I think I'd like to go out there and get a house because it looks like this is a good time to buy. What do you have to have ready first?
I mean, like we talked about in the past, I mean, it's all about being prepared. I mean, and I'm telling people, get prepared. Get prepared. Get prepared for the long haul. Because these banks are not, like we talked about the last show, they ain't like they just moving slow. It's not no more 45-day closings. So be prepared for the long haul. Get all your paperwork together. Get everything you need to get together. Keep listening to us. We bring in new information to you every week, and we're trying to help you understand how to get prepared. Call us, get in touch with us, subscribe to us, so we can get the correct information back to you. I mean, we got probably 60, 70 years of experience.
Yeah, that's about it. And if you have a question right now, if you are following us on John's Facebook page, his real estate Facebook page, or on YouTube, if you enter into the comments section a question, we can actually pull it up here too and discuss that if you want to. One thing that I was speaking to a mortgage person this week said to me that a lot of what makes it difficult to buy homes is how many people are coming into the refinance because they have a 4.5% rate, and now we're at 3 or lower. And for most folks, if your rate is a point or more lower on the refi than what you currently have, you can save quite a bit. So the refis are so much easier than a new purchase for a mortgage broker to do. Wow. Because you qualify the first time to get into the house, and you're already there. It's easy to do it. All you really need is an appraisal and the verification of income and credit. Mm-hmm. There's no contract that could potentially blow up between a buyer and seller. So and they make just as much money on a $200,000 refi as a $200,000 purchase.
Correct.
But the work is a lot less.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so why would you not pick that first? So you got to contend with, if they have more than they could say grace over at the bank, then they're going to start picking and triaging, the easy ones that are, going to close versus the ones that won't close. And when I'm out of the easy ones, we'll start going to the more difficult ones.
Yeah. Yeah.
But there's no reason to until you have run out of that group. So make sure yours is an easy application for a mortgage person to go through.
Yeah, and that's one of the things I tell people that we do teach in the program. I have to throw that out there. It's one of the first things we teach. We teach we fill your 1003 out for you before you send it to the bank. So we already have it prepared for the loan officer when you go there. So like you said, just about being prepared and knowing what you need to know and knowing the information you need to turn in. It's very important to get that information up front, and that's what we teach. And it's kind of hard because I have a lot of people come to me and they're like, well, well, why should I come through this and do this when I can go right to the bank and do it? It's more important now to come through us because we can get you prepared and hopefully get you through a little bit quicker than just going directly to the bank. Now, if you got the 700-800 credit score, you prepared, then yes, you can go that direction. But if you got some issue, then you need to come through us first and let us help you out. But yeah, you're right.
The number one pet peeve I hear from mortgage brokers is incomplete packages.
Yes.
That you come in and they're like, okay, I'm going to need, let's make a number up, these 10 pieces of paper.
Yes.
Paycheck stubs, income tax returns.
401k, divorce degree.
But you bring 3 of the 10.
Yeah.
And then you piecemeal along after they have to follow up with you to get the rest of the documents.
Right.
That's one way to get put to the bottom of the stack real quick.
Oh, yeah. We talked about packages. That. Yeah, like we were talking last week. I mean, you can easily go to the bottom of the stack. But, divorce papers, child. What I'm seeing now is even on child support, especially FHA, they want your court order document more now. I mean, they always wanted it, but now, you usually can send the paperwork in from your employee. But right now, they actually want you to go back to the courts. And then you know how hard it is to get in there if you ain't got that document, because you just can't walk into the courts right now with COVID. So they want to get that document and then have that document sent in to you. So we got issues like that going on right now. So, I mean, you got to be prepared. You got to get prepared. So before you even talk to the bank, get with somebody like us and let us go ahead and get you prepared. So when you go to the bank, we can get you through a little bit quicker. I think that would be real good.
You know what amazes me? So many people are so close.
Oh,
like they're not far away at all from being able to qualify, but 15 more points in your credit score, which John, 15 points on your credit score, depending upon your history, there could be like 2 or 3 things like we can fix that in an afternoon.
Oh man. Yes.
And then a couple weeks later, you got 15 points on your credit score. But if you don't go through it and have a plan, yes, it's going to be difficult to do. But if you just tend to it, like everything else in life, you'll find that it's not that hard.
Well, what I'm finding out on the credit scores, and I had a client call me last night, it's about keeping your credit cards under the 30% mark. That's where you're going to get the maximum points on that 35% payment history. Is keeping that score down on the outstanding debt, keeping it down under 30%. I tell people when they come through to keep it under 20%. That way. We know we can get the maximum points done. So what I've been doing with people is taking people on their credit cards and making sure we bring that down to 20 to 30%. And then I'm seeing the credit scores go up faster on that level. Of course, it's a lot more go with that. You can't let nobody pull your credit while you're going through this with us. You got to get an installment loan somewhere down the line. I teach you how to go out and get an installment loan somewhere. And you got the revolving, and you're going to get the maximum scores and the maximum points. And your score will go up quicker. I have a lot of people come to me and say, well, I've been working on the collections. And the collections are important, but we got to get the score moving first. And that's what I try to tell people. So like you say, 15 points is not anything. We can fix that real easy. Get you
so I'll make sure I understand and the audience understands when you say a 30%. So like if you have a $5,000 credit limit on your credit card, don't go above $1,500 in your balance at any given time.
You got to keep that thing below that 1,500 mark. Yes. Yeah.
Now, should you be paying it off in full each month?
I don't know. No. You don't have to pay it off in full. You just got to make that payment, and then you got to pay that balance down below that what you just said, $1,500. And you keep it down if you got a $5,000 balance. Keep it down.
Now, in general, it's a good idea to always pay off your balance in full because the interest rates on credit cards are crazy.
Oh yeah.
18%, 21%. I mean, it is highway robbery, the rates they pay, but it's better to have
some credit.
Right. Just like a car, you don't drive your car with the tachometer like in the yellow all the time. You can, but you don't want to leave it there because you're going to burn it out. You don't take it up above a certain amount. Yeah. And if you have to make a payment mid-month to keep you from going over, then do it over that 30% mark.
Yeah, and like you say, I mean, if that's all, what I'm finding out, Al, is a lot of people, they don't have that much credit. So that's why I tell them not to pay that off. because you pay that off at the end and pay everything. Now you done paid everything off, and you're not showing the bank that you can handle your credit. You're not showing the bank that you can manage it. So yeah, in some cases, a lot of people, they only have maybe one credit card, one installment loan. The people that I'm running into, one installment loan, one credit card. They got some collections that we work on. And once we get that credit score moving in the right direction, then we start working on, like we talked about last week, the reserves, making sure you got that reserves in the bank so that the bank can look at you as a customer that is going to pay them back. That's all. They want to make sure that you're going to pay them back. So now you can look at them as someone that you're going to pay them back. But anybody can get a home in today's time. I'm telling you, I was in trying to think of the neighborhood Simpsonville. I was up in Simpsonville a couple of days ago, and they got these $300,000 houses, and between $250 and $300, and they had a sign sitting right there, USDA approved. So a lot of them people are still getting USDA loans in those neighborhoods that's outside Simpsonville qualify for that. So I was amazed on that. I'm like, oh man, and then I called the people and I seen out they raised that in that Simpsonville area. It goes up to the 300,000 for USDA in that particular area. So you can still qualify and get these houses. And they building houses like crazy. Greenville going crazy. But you get these USDA loans in that area, in that Greenville, Fountain Inn, Lawrence area. And you can get that USDA money. So guys, it's easy to get a house right now. Please don't sleep on this time, especially in South Carolina.
We've been around the real estate business a long time, and I know, and we're not realtors either. I'm not like, it's always the right time to buy, but there's never been a lower interest rate environment than what we're under right now.
Yes.
And interest rates really are the driving factor of how much this thing's going to cost you to live here for this. And I don't know that it will last. Yes, rates have gotten lower and lower over the years, but maybe the days of low interest rates are going to end when the debt that accompanies, anytime the rate goes lower, debt accumulates.
Right.
To the point where then the bank's like, oh, we have too much debt. We're going to raise rates to cool that off. And so don't believe for a second that these rates are here forever, because they are not. They will. The reckoning will come.
Yeah, I want to key in on something you said, that we're not realtors. And I had a bank call me a couple of days ago, and they thought I was a realtor. And we're not realtors. And because I teach people to really buy, at that 65% mark, and buy below market value. But since we talking about a realtor, Alice, is it anything? Let's go into that, because I was trying to do this the other day, and I was trying to think about this when I got you on the podcast here. The pros and cons of buying with a realtor and not a realtor. Without because we don't buy a lot of stuff from realtors. We go directly to the consumer. But what are some pros as a person out here looking today? In your mind, what would be some pros and cons of them using a realtor and not using a realtor?
Okay, so let's talk about because realtors is a real broad brush.
Yes.
They're kind of like doctors.
Yeah.
In that there are great doctors and there are doctors that are not so great. There are great realtors and there are realtors that are not so great. So if you're going to work with a realtor, right off the bat, work with a great realtor.
Okay.
Don't work with a mediocre realtor. And you could be just fresh out of school, just got your realtor license and be great. You might not be that experienced, but you have a desire to learn and you have enthusiasm and you want to work at it.
Right.
And a realtor can find stuff. If a realtor is able to discern what it is you're looking for, they've got their kind of ear to the ground. They've got the MLS, the multiple listing service that lets them search for and find anything. They know of good deals that are out there, so they're kind of keyed in on that. And it is going to be the seller that pays the commission, so you're not paying the commission as a buyer. So that is good, and they can kind of keep you abreast of the laws and make sure you have a good closing. They'll help walk you through the closing. So if you're going to use a realtor, use a great one. Don't bother with a mediocre one or one that doesn't seem to follow up your phone calls or try and keep up with you. Don't waste their time either. You want to be ready financially, like we've already talked about at the beginning of the show. Have your ducks in a row. This realtor is going to run you all over town looking for a house. be ready with
Right.
your pre-approval.
Right.
So they can be good. Where a realtor doesn't necessarily think like an investor. If you want to buy that diamond in the rough that's going to need some work, you can fix up. There's not many realtors I've met that are geared that way in their mind.
Yes.
They're thinking school districts, curb appeal,
Yeah.
new appliances, and the brand new carpet and paint. It's beautiful. That's great. If you want that kind of a buy, great. But you are not going to get a great deal
Right.
that way.
Yeah.
And realtors, by and large, you think, well, the more they sell the house for, the bigger commission they make. So they're always kind of in that mindset. They're not. They're fast in their transactions.
That's
If
it.
if they can knock us, if you're selling, they can get you to knock your price down 10 grand. So it'll turn that quick. 6% on a 10 grand commission is not that much.
Mhm.
Let's turn it over so I can do 4 closings this month instead of 2.
Right.
That's their mindset is you're a machine. I want to run this transaction as fast as I can because how much I get paid doesn't change
Mhm.
on how long it takes to get it done.
And that's great. I always try to figure that out. But as an investor, what are we looking for? How's that different from the real estate mindset?
Different from a realtor.
Yeah, an investor coming in with an investor mindset. Because I've got a lot of people come to me now and they like, well, John, I like what you do, and I want to do the investment side. But not necessarily to flip the houses, to get in a good deal. I have people that come to me like that all the time. They want to get in a good deal. So how you think that will work on the realtors? Work as a pro or con for the realtors? Really, that's a negative for the realtors because the customer.
I don't know if realtors think in terms of value and construction costs to make the house of value for you, and all the little. I don't know what they add in the equation other than maybe helping you find something, but a lot of times as investment type houses, people don't take those to realtors to list to begin with because a lot of realtors don't want to list a fixer upper. They don't want to list a house that has some, as the term we use, has got some hair on it,
Yes.
which means there's some problems, there's some complexities in the house that are not insurmountable. And I find that typically problems that come with a house just means the discount is bigger.
Right.
And so you may be getting paid $5,000 to spend a day to figure out a problem because that's how much you got to discount the house because you were willing to spend some time to look at the problem.
I was writing some stuff down right now just while you was talking, and I was just going through this here. If I take $100,000 house that don't need no work, and I buy it through a realtor, I'm paying $100,000 for that house.
Right.
If I take a house and use our formula, and I do it for $65,000, then I minus out another $30,000 out for repairs, and I get that same house for $35,000. I think the difference in the mindset of the people is, do I want to move in right now, or can I fix it, and can I have that extra $30,000 of equity plus at the end of the deal? Because you're buying it for 60. When you get finished, you're gonna be around that 65,000 minus all your fees and stuff that you're gonna have to pay. So is it a better deal to do that, and you get the house the way you want it, you get to pick the colors out, you get to design the way you want it, all that stuff, and you got instant equity when you walk into that deal. That's what I try to teach right there. Not getting realtors, Alice. I just want people to be able to get the best deal in this day and time with the best interest rate out here and make the maximum amount of money.
Well, in a situation like that, you're dealing with that's not your 100% financing USDA buyer.
Oh no,
who has no money to put into it. So
yeah.
So for the folks listening, just understand there's two kind of buyers. The first time home buyer that wants something perfect and I don't have a lot of money to put down, you working with the realtors, probably that's your better category.
Mm-hmm.
If you are a person who has some money and has access to the financing that you need to work on a house, you are going to get a better deal that way. And there's a realtor probably doesn't provide that much added value in that situation.
Yeah.
Just because really the most value add is A, finding the deal, and B, finding the contractors that can get it done within the cost and the budget you've got set up. And that's the real trick. And a realtor doesn't
and
That's
and a
not
lot
their
of
equipping. That's not their gifting.
and in a lot of cases, Alice, in that second one where we go out and find a house for you, or you go out and find your house, you get more house. I mean, you a lot of times you can buy more house for the money. Where you might pay $100,000 for a house that's around 1,300 square feet, or we can go up. We can say $150,000 house around 1,300 square feet. You can find that $150,000 house for 2,000 square feet, if it's a
Right.
discretion type house. If you
Also,
wouldn't live in that particular neighborhood, in that particular area.
Also, if I came to you and you did a job for me, a construction job, let's say, and it was $30,000 worth of work, and I wrote you a check for $30,000, you'd have $30,000 of income that you then have to declare to the IRS. And they're going to tax out 10 grand of that, and then the state's going to tax out its piece. You may only be left with $20,000 at the end of the day. If you made that kind of profit in your house and you lived there for 2 years and then you sold it, you get that $30,000 back out, and it's tax free because it was your primary residence, and that's the tax law. You can make a tax free gain as long as you live in the house for 2 years, or you could flip that into your next house and build a bigger house, a nicer house, a nicer neighborhood, or whatever, and you can keep rolling it tax free. And what people don't realize is, why is it so hard to get rich? Is because every time you make a profit, if the government's in for 40% as your partner, between state and federal, it's hard to keep any gains going, any compounding going, because they're cutting you off.
Yes.
And they're taking a piece of your pie. I mean, they're your partner in your life.
Yes.
So where they give you a break, take advantage of it. And they give you a break in housing.
Let me ask you another question. If you got that house and then you refinance that house, once you refinance that house, you're not really taxed on that house. Are you? You're not taxed
because you didn't sell it.
Huh?
Because you didn't sell it. The tax
so you get your money back. Yeah.
Not the point of refi.
Yes. Yeah. I was just talking about going into the deal. If you go into a particular deal and go under the 65% rule, and then you go in and fix the house up, or you do a new construction and you get it done at a great price, then now all of a sudden, when you refinance that house, you can get that money out of it without having to pay that extra money, that capital gain. Correct? Okay.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
Exactly. But when you go to close and you sell it, then you pay all that off. So if you took some extra out to buy yourself something, to put a kid in college or buy a car or something, you still spend the money, but you haven't been taxed on it.
Yes. That's good. And
as an investor too, even if it's not your primary residence, let's say you do this for a rental house, and you turn it into a rental and you keep it for a rental for a year or two, and you sold that rental. If you turn around and buy another rental of equal or greater value, you could do what's known as a 1031 tax-free exchange, which is a rule that says, well, if you're just selling one asset to buy another asset similar to it, then we're not going to tax you. You're going to defer. You will owe tax, but your tax will be put on hold until you finally sell, and you're not reinvesting it in something else. So there are people that have started young, bought my one little duplex, and then I sold it and I bought another bigger unit, or 2 or 3 equal size or smaller units, even, as long as the total purchase adds up to what you just sold or a little more, you can keep gravitating up, and just build a portfolio and not be owing the government all those taxes at each step. You take that money, you keep it, and you keep it growing. And when you finally sell at the end of the day, when you're 70, 80 years old, you'll owe taxes on it then, but then you'll have a multi-million-dollar portfolio.
Yeah.
It won't be a big deal.
And that's one of the hardest things to get people to understand. Is like, your first house don't have to be, your last house. I mean, a lot of people, I want this big house, I want this house, I want to build this house, I want this house here. But right now, in the day's time, you live in an apartment. So you coming out of a $700,000 apartment and you going to a 1,500, 1,600 square foot house. That's a good move. You don't have to go to a $3,000 house, because in Simpsonville area, I see people that come out of the apartments and they jump right into a 3,000 square foot house. It's a lot of maintenance. There's a lot of stuff happening when you jump into that 3,000 square foot house. It's a lot of upkeep, a lot more,
especially if it's not new construction.
Yeah, especially if it's not new construction. So, uh, I think you got to take in consideration, what you just said. Let's take baby steps and move
Well,
forward.
it
You
would
know,
it not be a good idea as your first house to buy a house that's extremely rentable?
hmm
Like, okay, it's not the perfect house, but I can rent this thing in a heartbeat. It's in a good location. The
right,
price is not too high for most renters. I
right,
can live here for a little while. And then I got this great rate because I went in as a primary residence loan. So I got
hmm
it 3%. And then I move out and I put a tenant in here. And now I'm cash flowing $400 a month.
to help pay for my
And
next house.
and I'll save that up for my next house.
Yes,
Exactly. And now I got $400 of cash flow. Plus, I'm throwing $200 probably on principal every month,
paying that one down.
paying that one down. And then
Yeah,
everything needs to be fixed, is tax
yeah.
deductible. Oh, and I get the depreciation, which depreciation takes your house and says, the government says, well, we're going to give you a credit of whatever that house is worth, not the land, but the building,
hmm
and we'll divide it into 20. And every year, let's say it's $100,000 house, that's worth 100,000 divided by 20 is $4,000. I'm going to give you a $4,000 tax credit every year as depreciation expense because things break in a house, so they know that's going to be an expense. They're giving it
Right.
to you in advance.
Yes,
But
correct.
even if you have to replace that roof or replace that AC, you get to write that whole thing off that year. So now you will recapture that. That's a gain you will recapture when you sell,
Mhm.
unless you 1031 it and you keep it rolling. You keep it
Right,
rolling.
right.
But there's a lot of times where people making nice money and not paying a dime of taxes because the profit they make is equal to the depreciation. So there's no tax to pay on a rental house, which is
You
really
know,
nice.
that's some real important information that Alex, that you're giving out right now today, because a lot of people don't understand that, never been taught that. And your first house you buying, you don't have to be the big house. If you're renting right now, you need to move into a buying situation. So your buying situation can be a house that's rehabable, or it can be a house that that you're getting at a great deal. Like you said, something that you want, that you can move back out and rent one day, stay in about
Mhm.
2 years and move back out and rent. Right now is better than renting right now, because what you're renting, all your money going towards the rent. When you start buying, at least you're building that equity, building that generational wealth, and that's what's important, to build that generational wealth for the next generation.
You'd be hard pressed to make a monthly payment in a rental that if you own that exact same house,
Oh
your
yeah,
payment is going to be less than what you're
way
paying for rent by a lot. And then you have the tax deduction of the interest. And the
right,
reason being, at least this way in South Carolina, if your homeowner taxes are $1,000 a year for that house, if you're a landlord and you own that house, you're paying 3,000.
right, correct.
And probably for a house like that, it's not renting for more than $800 a month. So you're going to take almost 4 months of rent to pay just the property tax.
Right.
Another month will be for the insurance.
Yes.
Another month will be for the maintenance. Another
Yeah.
month will be for the vacancy advertising, trying to find a person. So you're really looking at like the last 3 or 4 months of the year that you're making any money. And
Right.
that's no mortgage.
Yes.
So you're kind of, it's a bit of a tough thing, at least for that. So yeah, buy a rentable house as your first house, and then you don't have to stay there long. Do it again and
Yes.
build yourself a little portfolio, slow and steady on your way to retirement.
Right. And like we always say, it's better than renting right now. If you just buy that rentable house right now,
Right.
it's definitely better than renting something. And that's what I try to get people to understand is, like, your first house don't have to be your last house.
No.
You can move on into and get the house you want. And a lot of times, Alice, some of these houses that you get. I got a guy now in Columbia. Man, I'm gonna get some pictures of his house. He got a house that he bought cash. It was a family member house that he paid. I imagine he might not pay no more than about $20,000 for the house. But he moved out of, him and his wife, the downside. They moved out of a bigger house. But Alex, the thing that impressed me so much about this house, he built it the way he wanted. He designed it inside it the way he wanted it. I mean, he got showers in there that hit you at every angle of your body. He got a radio inside inside is light that change colors. I mean, I mean, when you walk in there, his kitchen is designed to fit the need of how he cook and how his wife cook right now. I mean, he totally. You look at the house. He totally designed it. It's almost like a little. It's almost like a California house that's inside a small 1,200 square foot house over here. I mean, the way they designed the house, it's a beautiful house on the inside.
So when you were asking me the question about the realtor before, a realtor will find you a beautiful house, but nothing in it is going to change.
Right.
And if you buy a dollhouse, what I mean by a dollhouse is I'm walking into this house, it's got great carpet, it's got great paint, everything's good about it. So I'm going to pay top dollar. And this might not be my style versus buy a house that really needs a lot of work, but you bought it so cheap, you can pay for everything to be just like you want it.
Just like you want it.
And you still have profit.
Yes.
And you get exactly what you want. That would, to me, would be, you and I did a deal like, I guess 4 years ago, where there was a fire that was in the house in Florence. And I bought that house and you rehabbed it with me. That was like one of the first deals we worked on together. And like, you look at that house, the first day is like, this thing is a freaking mess.
Oh yeah.
I mean, it's got a 25-foot hole in the roof from where it burned.
Yes.
But it was sold so cheap, and it's not hard to replace a roof. No. It's not hard to replace all this stuff. And it was beautiful by the time we were done with it on the inside, and still made good money. That was a great deal.
Yeah.
That was a really great deal. I would make deals like that all the time. Like,
speaking of that,
gutted by biker gang.
what made that deal so beautiful too, Alice, is not the only idea that you was able to buy it, that we fixed it up. It was a customer that came there that never owned a house before in her life, and she was able to buy this house, and it was her dream house.
She was ecstatic.
And that would make that deal so beautiful. It's like when she walked in that house, it was amazing. I remember her from the day my brother was there, and he called me and said, somebody came here and said, this is their house. So I said, what do you mean? I drove over there, and she said, this is my house.
Well, she prayed over it, didn't she? She was like declaring it in the name of Jesus. I'm going to have this house.
And she's still living there today, and she's happy. I mean, she's happy. Right. Now, that's when you become an investor, and you really feel good about what you're doing, because you're able to make a little bit of money, but you're able to, and we put in the house with equity too now. Don't forget that the house was sold to her with equity.
Oh, and one of the reasons we did that is because all we did is you put a sign in the yard.
Yes.
Your own sign, John's own signs, and your phone number. Yeah. And just took phone calls until you found someone that would work out. I mean, that's how we do almost all the deals. We don't use a realtor for that because I mean, that particular location had high street traffic. So many people saw it, coming by. I mean, there's like a couple thousand cars a day. Yeah. So it didn't take long before someone saw that and said, oh, and they jumped on it. It's not that hard to sell a house when you do it over and over and over again.
Right.
So, if you're new and you need a lot of hand holding, probably a realtor is right for you. But if you're going to just wash, rinse, repeat, or work with us, and we work out a deal, that's not hard to do. So,
and I'm telling you right now, it's some great deals out here. I mean, I was talking to one of my partners the other day, Alice, with Wallace, and one of the things me and Wallace were talking about was it's so many deals out here that he's getting with people that got these they might have two houses, and they at a point right now they just need cash, and they saying, hey, I need to cash out because I don't know what's going to happen going forward. That right there, their misfortune, unfortunate than them, is a fortune to you. I mean, you can walk in there and get a good deal now in every area. I mean, Columbia, all over South Carolina.
We kind of brushed over it, but that was the title of the podcast, is that this is a tale of two markets. Yes. You've got some people that are doing great and saving money on their finances, and some people haven't made a mortgage payment since April. And you don't necessarily know where they are. It's kind of like, you see the neighborhood with all the sunshine, and you see all the houses, and there's one house with a cloud over it and a lightning storm. You don't know where they are in the different neighborhoods where this person's job couldn't take COVID and they laid them off, and they really cannot afford to be there because that job is either they're the restaurant industry, that job's not coming back, or something happened where it's like they just can't stay here. And if you can help them out by working out a deal that's good for them and helps move them through fast, they're probably some of the people that Wallace is talking to right now are just in that scenario. So it's weird that you have both feast and famine going on at the same time, but that is there. It's a disconnect, in the market that provides some opportunities, and you're not taking advantage. Please don't feel like we're out there to take advantage of people.
No.
It's like we're the only offer they're getting, and they want to take it, and everybody always takes their best offer.
Yes.
Don't think that people don't think in their mind, this is the best I can get, I'm going to take it, because there's nobody else making a better offer, or otherwise they would have taken it. So we're helping where we can. That's why we do need more investors, because there are people out there that need some help, and there's only so many different things you could do at one time.
Right.
So,
and I'm approved. I believe that people got to live in every area. It's just the mindset of that person that's going in that particular area. So you got different areas that some people might say, well, this is not a good area, but you get in the house so cheap. I looked at one the other day, right around $7,000. And it's not in a great area, but somebody got to live there. I'm looking at the neighborhood, and you still got people living in the neighborhood.
What would it take to make a house like that nice and livable, dollar-wise?
Because see, now a house like that, you don't have to go with everything that I said on the other house. I mean, you don't have to go there. What I like to do is get a customer, team that customer with me, and build a house back to the customer's satisfaction. But now you have to do it. You have to do it in, windows, AC. That house need a roof. The vinyl siding was on it, just need pressure washing. The plumbing was good on it. Didn't have a problem with the plumbing. Need a front door. New front door, new back door, new screen door, and then paint and carpet. Cabinets in it was good. Cabinet didn't have a problem with it. Cabinet was really good. So
you could build it into a rental.
Yes, that's a great rental. That's a great rental.
So maybe how many dollars are you talking about to get it into rental quality?
Oh, to get it in rental quality, maybe 15 at 20,000. Rent in that neighborhood there, 15 to 20. You get it so you got, but you have about 27,000 into it once you get finished with it.
And then what do you think that would rent for per month?
$650. About $650 in that area. They rent for about $650.
Okay, so for under $30,000, I would have a monthly payment of about, and I'm doing the math in my head real quick.
Yes.
$3,000 total a year, maybe four. So like $350 a month of monthly payment of mortgage if I'm financing 100% of it.
Right.
And I'm getting $650 to rent it. So I'm making about twice on the rent. Rent is double what my costs are per month. And I'm building equity and got the cash flow, and it's paying for the whole thing. And I can just do it again.
Well, let me ask you this since you brought that up. What would be the difference? Because my mindset would be to finance that house to that person and just go in on the financing end of it and then just finance the house to them at market value. And let's just say market value on the house right around $55,000. So you finance the house to them at the market value. They'll get that house and they own that house. They buy that house. You will actually make more money when you're doing it that way if you write that note out for the next 30 years.
If I'm the mortgagor and they're the mortgagee. So yeah. I'm the bank, they're the borrower.
Yes.
And so I could write them a $55,000 mortgage because they're probably not perfect credit. They're not going to get the 3% rate.
Well, you got to have a percent.
Maybe I do it for 4.5 or something.
Yeah.
Or something in that category. And then so now I'm making about as much money as I'm making in rent, but they could pay their own property taxes, which is going to make that payment much lower.
And they got their own upkeep.
You got their own upkeep. And if in
insurance
2 or 3 years, if they're making good payments and I want to cash out, I could actually sell that note.
Yes.
People will buy a cash flowing note from a steady paying a person very quickly. And so I put 30 into it. I got several years worth of payments, and then I sold it for 55. That's not a bad rate of return.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking this is, wouldn't that be better for a person to own and finance that, or either finance that out instead of renting that, because you ain't getting that phone call every month saying, "Hey, well, the water heater broke," you know,
Right.
and I need this, I need that. You actually becoming the bank. You are the bank. So therefore, you're financing it to them instead of renting it to them. And a person that to me that's buying instead of renting, they're gonna have more pride in that house because it's theirs. Then they're gonna take care of it
Well,
better.
and
Because
think about it this way too, John. What if that person gave you five
yeah,
thousand, maybe $10,000 down
yes,
to do that? So you're only financing if it's worth 55, maybe you're only financing 45. You had a
right,
good chunk of your initial money back
right.
already, and still getting monthly payments.
And the
Cut
other
it so many
option,
different ways.
and the other thing is, in a couple of years, the payment on them can go down because they can refinance it and get a lower rate than you giving them up front.
Well, think about that. So in 2 years, they've been making great payments. They got their credit up. They're like, man, I'm getting 4.5, and the rates are 3. Yeah,
Mhm.
let them refinance it. And guess what? The attorney's going to call you and say, "Oh, Mr. Fuller, what's the payoff on this mortgage they have?"
Yes,
Oh, look at the balance. It's still, they've paid me for a while, but they still owe me like $40,000. Okay,
right.
we're going to send you a check for $40,000 when we close.
That's right. That's
So you
right.
got all those payments, the down payment, and your money after a couple of years, and
Mhm.
that's not a bad way to roll.
Yes. Yeah, and
Not
I
at
think
all.
it's so. And Alice, I think I've been looking at so many deals out there like that right now. It's so many deals out there like right now because you got a lot of people that's out of state, and there's some information we're giving out. You got a lot of people that's out of state living, and they're not coming back home, so they're not worried about their house that's in state. It could have been a family home back in the day, and they really them the houses that me and Wallace talked about the other day. That we got so many of those houses coming about that it's crazy. That
Are
people like,
they
especially with
are
COVID,
they like the
coming
mom and dad live here, but the kids moved
uh,
away, kind of,
moved away.
and then they pass away, or they don't want to live there anymore, and
Yes,
kids don't want the house. They live in Tennessee, and you're down in South Carolina, or vice
right,
versa. That's very common,
right,
and probably a lot of deferred maintenance
right.
on a
So
house like that.
So you're gonna get it at a great deal. So those are some ways that you can go out there and get some houses. I just want to put that out there for the people that look for those deals, them diamond in the rough. Ride through those neighborhoods and you see that grass up real high, and you see maybe need a roof, or maybe a tree done kind of fell in the backyard or something, and it didn't hit the house, almost hit the house, but it didn't hit the house, and that tree hadn't been moved in a couple of weeks. So those are houses that someone probably want to get rid of, when you ride through the neighborhood. So start looking at those houses in certain neighborhoods.
So, guys, if you'll look here in the on the chat on the bottom of the screen, you see under my name, my email address, and John has his and our websites underneath it too.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking for something, just give us your criteria of what you're looking for
Mm-hmm.
and what part of the area. We'll see if it matches up to what we've got. And if you need some help on getting it fixed up, we got that too. We've got the vendors, we got the other things. We're kind of facilitating those dreams. If you're wanting a retail place and this house needs some work, but you want to buy it in retail, well, we'll
Mm-hmm.
get you qualified. We'll fix it up to your specs, and with your carpet, your paint, whatever you want, and then sell it to you that way. Whichever one works better for you.
Yeah, what you want to do it. And someone else want to throw out there, Alex, if you see a house, if you see a house like that and you just want to make a little commission off of it, send that to us. And then let us, we can buy it or flip it or whatever, and pay you a commission for that, for
Right.
finding those houses for us, because we can't be everywhere. So if you ride through a particular neighborhood, you see a house down there, say, "Hey, John, it might be interested in a house." Email Alice, email me, give us a call, and then hey, we might take that house from you.
And it really doesn't matter if it's we're based in South Carolina, but I have done deals
Yeah,
in
it doesn't
Oregon.
matter. Yeah.
I've done deals in Charleston, and done deals in houses I've never seen except on the computer screen. So really, that's not a big issue. And we are connected with investors too in other parts of the country. So I do a lot of work out of Colorado and the New York and Boston area. So it doesn't matter where it is. It could be in the Caribbean. That'd be great. We'll have to take a trip maybe for that.
Because we look at numbers. We only look at the numbers. We all about the numbers.
All about the numbers.
We all about the numbers. So it
That's
doesn't
the
matter.
first thing John and I first got together. He's like, "Let's go look at this house." I'm like, "We haven't looked at the numbers."
Yeah,
Look at the numbers. Then we'll go look at the house.
Yeah. It's all about. That's one thing I learned from him. It's all about the numbers. You know, let's look at the number first, because you might not even waste no time going out there looking at it, because it might not even fit in the parameters that we needed to fit in. So let's look at the
numbers. Second is homeowner motivation.
Mm-hmm.
And so and that determines how fast they're wanting to move. And then you can go look at the house, because if the first two don't click, there's no reason for the third step.
And another thing, Alice, that you real big on, and I picked up from you, is there's plenty of deals out there. So you don't have to just go after that first deal you see and get excited about that deal. There's plenty of deals out there.
Right.
It'll come to you. You just be patient. That deal will come.
Deals are like buses at the bus stop. If you miss this one, just wait a while. There'll be another one coming. So don't get go fever. Oh, yeah. I got to get my first deal. I'm like, you don't want your first deal to be a bad deal. So don't get a good deal. Jump on it when it's good, but don't force it because you're just wanting to get a deal done.
Yes.
Make sure you're setting your own pace. So
yes.
Well, John, I think that's been a pretty good week. Hey guys, sorry we started a little bit late today. We're going to try and keep it for 11:30 on Saturdays. I had a family thing going on at the hospital, so I had to be a little late today. But we're going to keep with the 11:30 Saturday schedule where we can. And again, I'll post typically Wednesday or Thursday the week that we've got another stream coming. And go ahead and get your comments in. Yeah. Or comment after the fact. We could also read, if you're watching this after the live, we can respond to comments that way, or shoot me or John an email.
Yeah, because I see you guys on there. I see some people on there. How you guys doing, everybody? So I see some people on there live, and you're listening to us. Guys, don't just listen to us. Comment with us, get with us. If you're in the market for a house, let us help you. I see some people on there that's in the program. Michelle, how you doing? So, hey, guys, stay with us, and let's make it happen for you. Let's make these dreams come true for you.
Yep.
That's what we're here for.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great week, and we will see you again next Saturday.
11:30. You guys subscribe too, and like Alice say, put your questions together if you want us to answer anything for you on live. So, guys, Alice, I appreciate it. I hope everything's going good with your family member at the hospital. So, hey, man,
appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, guys. Y'all have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.
Next Saturday.
Okay, bye-bye.